Okay guys, so we're here, we're on the dyno today with Bruce Wayne. We did a drivability test over the weekend. We took the truck, got it running the night before, ran it up the road, verified line pressure, verified pretty much everything was happy on the truck, no leaks. Trans temperature was in spec, line pressure was in spec. It's been a phenomenal truck so far. I mean, everything literally just came together perfectly. When you spend the time and you do things properly, this is the result you get. Really happy with actually how it turned out. So we drove it to Gillette, to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, or where was it? Kremling? Kremling. Went to Kremling, Colorado, picked up Starbucks sled, non-stop. We got around hand calculate, we got 17 and a half, 18 miles a gallon, which is really good. Noticed I really didn't like the turbocharger setup at 6,000 to 8,000 feet on elevation side. Now, something to keep in mind, 5.9s don't have the drive that a 6.7 does. So a 72 is going to drive really, really nice on a 6.7. It just, at the end of the day, it comes down to, in my personal preference, at high elevation, this truck needs to have compounds. It needs to have a really light, minor 400 frame on the manifold, preferably a 463 8390 paired with a 75 or an 80 atmospheric as the atmospheric charger. It would drive really nice at high elevation. Now we're at 3,000 to 4,000 feet here, so the 72 comes online really, really nice. But as far as elevation and high elevation in Colorado, like when we went through Estes Park and dropped down into Denver the next day, we were on, I-25, Denver, headed north to Cheyenne, and it was not as responsive as I'd like it to be, so that's where the compounds would kind of come into factor. Other than that, we had a great trip. We had zero issues, zero flaws. The transmission stayed between 125 to 140 degrees. Really good setup that we have in the transmission, something that I trust to drive from here to New York City right away. It's the same transmission recipe that we apply to essentially all the customers. Drivability was really good. When we originally started the truck, we kind of had, the high pressure relief valve wasn't tight, or the return off to the fuel bowl delete, so we were getting a little bit of fuel runoff there. Number 6 injector line wasn't properly tightened, and we had a stuck thermostat. Stuck thermostat really sucked. We were doing some hot rod stuff in front of the shop with it, and it got hot. Stuck thermostat, it was pretty, what was it? The thermostat stuck wide open. Do we still have that? No, stuck closed, okay. Do you still have that or no? Threw it away. So anyway, that causes the truck to basically heat up to 245 degrees like instantaneously. So how you verify a stuck thermostat is grab the upper radiator pipe if it's cold. There you go. Stuck closed. Sorry, I don't want to change that up. Other than that, the truck drives really, really nice. We're on the dyno today. We're going to show you what it does for power, drivability. So far, our first baseline is 620 horsepower, 970 foot-pounds of torque. Peak power is making it right at around 3,300 RPM, 3,400 to be exact. Torque is right around the 3,300 range. The graph, we'll show you guys the graph here in a second. The graph is really nice and progressive. It literally just keeps climbing. This all the way to about 4,000, and did a really good job. So now we're going to put this thing through the paces on the dyno. We've driven it the last week. We've driven it home every single day. Drove it to the gym, drove it to Colorado and back. That was a 14-hour round trip right away. Zero issues, zero problems. Me and the boys, there was 4 of us, went down to Colorado, grabbed a sled, stayed the night, came back the next day. And it was good. I really enjoyed how well the transmission shifts. My only concern is that I really didn't like the 72 as much as I was thinking I was gonna like it. I noticed the 468 was a little bit more responsive and it was a little bit better in my opinion. Other than that, let's see what it does. Now, keep in mind we don't have the 472 8790 with the T51 mod from Force Inductions on this truck. We actually have their 72 8790 in the TDI format that's on this. So we'll do 5 pulls with the TDI format to show you guys what it does in the TDI 72 format, and then we're going to do 5 pulls in the 72 format in the Force Inductions T51 mod version. So let's go. run 633 horsepower. Torque went up to about 1,032 on the torque side, but did really nice. We are gonna let it cool down and maybe run number 3 and see what we do. Look at that trans fluid, crispy and pink. So we have about 2,000 miles on this already, and I've been pretty hard on it. Oh yeah, smells good. So kind of have to, when they're in their beginning phases, when they're just born or they're like just first starting up, you have to keep a monitor on everything, coolant, trans fluid, because you can kind of catch stuff in a preliminary phase when you can save it. What I mean by that is if there was an issue with the trans, or there was an issue with the head gasket, or there's an issue with the turbocharger, you can save it before you ruin your investment, is what I'm saying. I wanted to make at least 850 because it has literally identical setup. It has a bigger turbocharger, so in all reality you should do more. Humidity's good, temperature's perfect, or 66 degrees. So I don't see a single reason why I shouldn't do 850 horsepower today. So this is a very budget-friendly build setup for everybody that has a 2006 5.9. These are all parts that are available to the public. A very commonly sized injector. It's a very standard sized 10 mil pump, budget-friendly. Turbocharger. This is actually the budget turbocharger from Force Induction. The biggest thing that's going to set you back with a build like this is the trans. The trans is going to cost you about $8,000 to $10,000 depending on what internals you put into it. Kind of went over that as far as like the transmission particulars. It has a billet output, billet intermediate, and a 27 spline input shaft because I'm going to be a little hard on it on the street, on the road. So other than that, there's really not any really essential billet upgrades in it other than the triple disc converter from Suncoast, which has a billet stator design, our kind of design that we've worked with Suncoast for the last 5 years with. It's got a 2200 stall, so the 72 comes online really nice. It just doesn't like elevation, so the elevation that we're at right now is 4,200 feet. Like I said, if I lived in Colorado or I lived somewhere where it was 6,000 to 8,000 feet, this truck would have compounds that have to. They're just not fun to drive. They're not. Big single truck is fun at 4,500 feet and under, if you ask me. It just depends at the end of the day on what you want to do and how you drive it. Its function. You can still pull a trailer with this at reasonable elevation. High elevation is a big no. It's a hard no. Way too hot VGTs is not a good thing to have a big single elevation. So very essential, what I was referring to you guys is a very essential budget-friendly setup. Stock intercooler, stock radiator, valve springs, push rods, head studs, stock head, stock block, stock head gasket. But we're putting it through the paces right now. I know it'll do well. I trust the products that we have in here. And let's go run 3 does, so let's go. So essentially what I'm doing cylinder temps. If you look on a data log, you can see if the injectors are happy. Thermal will give you your inner manifold, your cylinder 3 and 4 are essentially going to be hotter. The reason why, if you look at this, we're at 213, right? 205, 221. 193. I mean, we're all within 10 to 15 degrees of each other, which is what you want. Which cylinders are going to run hotter is honestly going to be between 1 and 4 in my opinion, because that's where the air comes in. Now remember, boost is not fuel intake temps, you're not making fucking horsepower. And what I mean by that is if you don't have proper efficiency going into the engine, you're gonna lose a lot of power. And I can show you that right now. So look at the intake temp on this. 94 degrees, right? So let's go to the other side of the intercooler. It dropped, we're at 83. 83. So we dropped 15 degrees going across that. It's doing its job. When you get larger, you run big compounds and you run larger singles and stuff like that. In my opinion, that's where I think an intercooler is needed. Like I said, we did 850 horsepower on our silver truck, on a stock intercooler and stock radiator. Air-fuel ratio is everything. Nobody likes black smoke. The truck's really clean. I mean, very, very, very clean. Like I said, there's so many variables that all come together. It's a giant recipe, and if one thing is off, you'll know about it. So let's do run 3 and let's see where we're at. Horsepower with 3,500 RPM. Max torque was 1,060. Now we're going to start getting into the real big boy numbers. 600 to 700 horsepower is really fun street manners. Now remember, we're not going for a crazy number on this truck. I see it doing really well. I see us doing, I don't even know, I can't even say. Because when I do say, it's not the number I want, and then when I do shoot low, it's a lot higher. So we have to see what plays out. Other than that, we're happy, we're good. No codes on the dash. Proper voltage, proper coolant temp, proper oil pressure. Trans is happy. We will let it cool down for about 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll do run 4. We'll let it cool down for another hour, and we'll hit it off on run 5 and see where we're at. So run 5 was 735 horsepower and 1,085 foot-pounds. Run number 4 was 732 horsepower and 1,125 foot-pounds. So kind of need to look at some data, see what's going on with the truck. Turbocharger might be too big. I just want to look at all the data, analyze it. We're going to put it back on the dyno here again in the next couple of days. Just kind of see what's going on with it. Like I said, we got plenty of work to do. 734 was the best number of the day. That's 5 back-to-back runs with 25 to 30 minute increments to let the truck cool down. Other than that, did good. Stayed together. Trans shifted flawless. We just got to make up 118 horsepower. I don't know how the silver truck set the bar though, because this should have been like blew the silver truck out of the water with the 72. Who knows? I might have something I might need to change turbo wise. Remember the silver truck had a 468 8390, so it was really small, tiny, and fast, and it lit like that. And that's why I was telling you guys earlier, I really don't like the 72 because it's a fucking turd. It just takes like 40 years to light. Not 40 years. You can light the Charger in under 5 seconds. Silver truck would light in under like 2.5, 3 seconds, like it was there. We'll see. So lots of work to do. We got about 100 horsepower to gain, and we need to make about another 200 foot-pounds of torque. These are our baseline numbers. Pretty happy with them. Truck's happy. 0 issues. And I'm gonna go down to the gym and work on my 6-pack. See you guys next time. It's turbo time. We'll insert the we're gonna insert the caption here. It's gonna be fucking great. You ever seen Arnold Schwarzenegger? It's turbo time?
Yep.
Fucking love that old motherfucker. I gotta go get different bolts because this turbo's fucked. I'm about to fucking show it. who its daddy is. We're doing a turbo change. So we are going from a 472 8790 and we're gonna go down to a 468 8790. So the one makes more power. The 72 drives like shit at high elevation, I told you that. Here it's not bad, but yeah, we'll see. So lay off me and I'll see you in a second. So we're gonna go from a 472 8790 and we're gonna go to a 468 8390. We're not changing anything on the truck. We're gonna run it 1 through 5, run 1, and then run 2, run 3, run 4, run 5, and see what's different through the steps, all the way up. So yesterday we did 740, 750-ish horsepower. So we're gonna make a turbo change, and we're gonna see what happens, because it's turbo time. Delicious cherry. Been watching my trans lately because I've been really hard on it. Like, I just voided my own warranty, kind of hard on it. So anyways, trans is good. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of fill you in on what happened. I kind of had a dipshit moment with turbos. So that right there is a 7287 10 T4. That's something that we've had on the shelf for a while, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna use it. That's why I didn't really like the drivability of it. I thought it was a 90, but it's not. Now I put on a 468 8790. I tightened up the exhaust side and then I smalled up the fucking inducer side. We're going from a 72 to 68. And then we went from a 10 T4 divided to a 0.90 or a 90 divided. So we're gonna do it run 1 through 5 and see what the change is. Drivability, I already know it's gonna drive better. So, okay, so we're gonna run number 1 and where we started off yesterday on run 1. We're gonna start it over today on run 1 on the 468 8790 divided T4. Remember, we took off our 72 8790 or 10, excuse me, because I didn't like the bottom end, it was lazy. So low elevation, that Charger will drive really nice on this truck. We gotta keep elevation in mind. Let's see what run 1 does. So, you always see all the guys on the internet, oh, fucking your exhaust housing's too tight. Correct. But you want a tighter exhaust housing at higher elevation, because if you have a big housing like you just saw on this truck, it's gonna drive like shit. It's gonna take forever to fucking spool. You're gonna get passed by something that makes half the horsepower because you're struggling to spool. So, this is gonna be a great learning experience for you guys just to see the power difference. I literally just went through 1, 2, 3 slight driving just to verify the straps are tight, and I can already tell a difference. So we're gonna see what the difference is. Run 1 from yesterday did 620 horsepower and 970 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're gonna run it back to back, but only changing the turbocharger. So we're gonna go from a 468 87 or a 472 87 10, and we're downgrading. We're going smaller to a 468 8390, and I want you guys to see the number change. You're gonna see a lot more torque probably, maybe a little more power. I don't know. So let's see what the results say. Let's do this. So we went down 120 horsepower, but we gained 9 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm gonna kind of look at the data log and kind of see what's wrong, but I'm gonna go to run 2. I don't think I loaded it as hard as I should have, but I'm pretty sure you guys can tell in the video it lights really quick. It's loud as fuck, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a lot quicker than the 72.
So lost a little bit of horsepower, significantly 120 horsepower to be exact. We're gonna run 2 now. See what it does. Should be more than 633 horsepower and more than 1,032 on torque. See what it does. Okay, that was run number 2. dumb and need your help. You gotta like guide them through the forest. They're just blind, you know, and you have to just take their hand and just lead them through the fucking forest. So, run number 2 today was 647 horsepower, 1,254 foot-pounds of torque. Yesterday, run 2 on the 7287 1.0 was 633 horsepower and only 1,032 foot-pounds of torque. So, there's your difference. We're gonna do run 3 now. It's not too hot, shouldn't be too hot. I'm gonna go do a block temp. Run 3 should beat 686 horsepower and 1,059 torque. Let's see what we got, but we're gonna let her cool down real quick. So the red light was actually hitting the exhaust manifold and it showed like 248 degrees. And I was like, oh no, that's not good at all. Huh. Yeah, this little fucking turbo does work, dude. Fucking crazy what happens when you tighten up the exhaust, man. These 68, 83, 90s just fuck at 4,200 feet. They do. I mean, for all the guys that are back east and stuff that have bigger chargers on the identical setup, bring the truck here and you'll see what elevation is. Elevation sucks ass. It's tough, it really is. It's really hard to set up trucks out here at elevation. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna load it harder this time. We're gonna compare run 3 versus run 3 yesterday. So 647, 1254, really, really good. We still have 3 more runs to go on top of that. So I think 800 is going to be doable within the next 3 runs. So just by making a turbo change. That's pretty cool. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed at all in the truck. Literally nothing. Other than that big fat ass schoolie boy right there. Motherfucker just singing his song right now. Okay, so that was run 3. Run 3 compared to yesterday. Run 3 yesterday did 686. Run 3 today did 678. So we are down about 10 horsepower. But the significant thing that you want to look at is the torque difference. The torque on run 3 from yesterday did 1,059 foot-pounds at 3,300 RPM. Today we did 1,227 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPM. So we made torque a lot sooner. Why did we make torque a lot sooner? Because the fucking charger light's a lot harder than the other one. Elevation, air density, all of those variables play a factor in where we're making power at right this second. So I can take this exact truck, do all these numbers right now, and then I'll go down to freaking sea level, things will change. So this isn't a full inflated numbers. These are real numbers what this is doing right now. I think this has a slight correction, but not like the, what do you call it, the East Coast correction. I don't know. Either way, we're making more torque, like 200 more foot-pounds of torque than we did yesterday. And that was a hot lap, so I'm gonna do run 3 again when the truck cools down, because it was a little hot and I didn't really give it a chance, because that's exactly why we went down 30 horsepower, or why we're off 10 horsepower from yesterday's run 3. So we still made more power on run 2 versus run 3. Essentially, it's hot. You have a heat-soaked engine, you're gonna lose horsepower. So you gotta let it cool off. I mean, here's a truck that should make 750, 800 horsepower, should make 850, because it has the same stuff as the silver truck. Everything plays a factor into heat soak. It doesn't matter if you make 200 fucking horsepower, you make 2,000 horsepower. Here in the next couple of weeks, we have a really crazy 06 that we're building right now for Joe Ormiston. Joe Ormiston will have a induction injection shredder, deck plate, 450%, 214 mil pumps with a 76 on the manifold over a 114. When you do a truck that makes that kind of horsepower and that kind of level of horsepower, you have to let it cool off. You can't fucking hot lap your shit. So for all you guys out there that think trucks like this are fucking invincible, they're not. You can't. I mean, I can literally burn this bitch down right now to the the average consumer, they think they're fucking invincible because you can just run it back to back to back to back to back to back to back. You can't do that. You have to let it cool down, give it a chance. So, take care of the truck will take care of you. For example, when I drive this on the street, I get on it probably once a day. I don't fucking do 40 different hot laps up the road. Sorry I'm being a little arrogant right now, but this is something that you guys need to fucking understand. Just because you build a truck, stock long block with bolt-ons, that's what this is, they don't last forever. Everything wears out. The transmission wears out. The converter burns down. Clutches wear out. If you set your tolerances right, they last even longer than a premature wear down on clutches and transmission or whatever the fuck it may be. Essentially, at the end of the day, if you run your stuff and you take care of your stuff, it'll last a long fucking time. So, we'll let the truck cool down. We're gonna do run 3. We're gonna see if we can get to 800 horsepower today. That's the goal. Silver truck really set a fucking high fucking mark when it comes to 100 overs, valve swings, push rods, and turbocharger and a bill of trains. So, and it's in my phone. Riley got me. So, other than that, we're gonna go eat some lunch, and I'm gonna Snapchat a bunch of bad bitches, and we'll see you in about 30 minutes. Run number 4 was 723, 1,292 foot-pounds on torque. 1, 2, 3. Run number 4 yesterday was 732 horsepower, 1,125 foot-pounds of torque. So we gained 100 and I don't even have my freaking calculator. I'll just do a rough guesstimation. Made more torque, went down 10 horsepower on power. So, it's good. A little down on power, but still right there at the same range. I'm gonna try and load it a little bit harder on 5. So, let's see what run 5 does. So, yeah, let's go. Okay, so that was run 5. It's everything the truck has. So the results you're seeing right now, all of these runs, we'll kind of pan over this as I'm talking. Silver truck's best run to date was 848 horsepower and 1345 on torque. So what I did is I went back a year ago to the same dyno sessions on the silver truck, same everything to a T. We made 848 at 3,400 RPM, 1345 at peak torque was 3,200 RPM. So this truck, everything it has right this second, might be able to load it harder and play a little bit more. The best number it's got right now is 756 horsepower and 1,277 foot-pounds of torque. Now I don't know why. Not all trucks are the same. This is a very great explanation as of why every single truck's different. They all run different. They all act different. This 10 mil pump could be different. These set of injectors could, flow different than the last set of 100%. I don't know. They're all not the exact same. So what I'm saying is that we are within essentially 100 horsepower of the silver truck. That's a kick in the balls, honestly. Not really, because I'm not really upset about it at all. It's just the silver truck set a really high standard here. So, 756 horsepower and 3,200 RPM. Max torque was 1,277 foot-pounds. Keep in mind, I only let it cool down for like 5-10 minutes. So I'm gonna let it cool down for at least an hour. Then I'm gonna run it back on run 5 again to see if I can get any more out of it, and we'll go from there. But if you look at the old numbers here, let's go look at the numbers. Back in the day when we first started on the silver truck, look, the silver truck was 782, 776, 768, 777s across the board. 800, we finally got our first 800 horsepower.
Then we went down in power, we went down in power, and we got back to 800. Then it did 820 horsepower, then it did 785, then it did 804, then it did 801, then it did 796, and then the final hoorah before I sold the truck. I sold the truck to some fucking idiot. I don't know where he lives. But anyways, the final run it made was 848 horsepower, 1,345 foot-pounds of torque, which is incredible. This truck is showing potential. It's right there. We're really close on the same torque. We're about 75 foot-pounds away on torque, but our horsepower is down. So we're in the same ballpark. Now remember, not all these runs were within one day. I snapped this, cracked this bitch off, did 12 runs in a day, beat the shit out of it on the straight for a couple weeks, a couple months later. Then I was like, I'm bored, I'm gonna put it on the dyno. And that's when we did the 848. So keep in mind that these runs were 70 degrees. It's pretty cold outside, so in all reality, it should be doing better. Cool, dense air is better. So as of at the moment, the best number we've got out of it right now is 756 horsepower, which is good. That's essentially what this setup should do. That's why Fleece names their 10 mil pump the PowerFlow 750. Well, motherfucker made 6 more horsepower than what it's advertised to make. Now I know the Fleece boys, their 10 mil pump can make this right here, 848 horsepower, because I've done it. Same pump, same injectors. This just has a year later pump and a year later set of SMS injectors. I would have to look at the flow sheets to see if there's anything different, MPA or, you know, just would have to see what the injectors are flowing. The other set of 100% we had versus these 100% because they're all going to flow different, essentially. Other than that, we're going to kind of wrap up our first dyno session of the truck at 756 horsepower. It's a really good number. The torque is a really good number, and this will be a fun little truck to rip around on as a daily driver. It's very clean. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any more fun than that. So that is 11 dyno runs on the truck, on the setup, and I've been driving it for the last week. There's nothing wrong with it. No leaks. Engine's happy. Still doing it. So, do a little blow-by check after the dyno. Perfectly fine. That turbo's a rock. So yeah, essentially at the end of the day, this is our first round of dynoing the truck. 756 horsepower is the number. It just shows you guys that not all trucks are the same. I'll load it again here shortly when I let it cool down, let everything cycle. See if we can get a little bit more out of it. And the reason why I have good intentions, or why I have good hope on that, is because the silver truck, when I tried to get 850 out of it, it wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? It was at that high 7 marks, and we're essentially only 10 to 15 horsepower away on that same setup. So that's what gives me hope on I can get to that 800, 850 horsepower mark just on a different day. You know what I mean? So all trucks are different. At the end of the day, here she is. She's all done. Work of art. So very budget friendly. This is where the market's at. This is what a lot of people can afford to do. Not everybody can afford to do like my Pro Street truck that's on the rack. You know what I mean? I mean, that sucker is probably 200 grand to do something like that. Just starting out. This right here is very budget friendly setup. About 8 to 10 grand for the trans. Hard parts and stuff, you're about another 8 grand. So you're about a good 20 grand into this. On, you know, 20 grand in parts, 15, 20 grand in parts gets you a really nice setup in this, high quality components. And this is something that you can expect. This is a 2006 5.9 Cummins. It's a fair ball game. You can have fun with these all you want. So yeah, like I said, we'll wrap it up with that. And it was a good dyno session. We'll add in the other clip of when we let it cool down another hour to see if we can beat 756 and 1277. So, till next time.